Support for the Channel StageONE series comes from The Music Box, a podcast from Louisville Public Media where families can explore music together. This week's episode will teach you all about percussion instruments. Follow the show wherever podcasts are available.
Hi guys, welcome to today's Channel StageONE. My name is Corie. I'm the scenic charge here at StageONE. That means I paint the sets and kind of do anything real artsy, painting mostly. But today I'm going to show you one of the tricks of the trade for scenic artists, and that is hand lettering. I'm going to show you two different kinds. The first is what you may have seen on like crafts and cute little signs and stuff that parents may have bought and put in your house for decorations. That's one of these fun, loose, bouncy handwriting. It's called hand lettering, calligraphy kind of. And then I'm going to show you how for a set, there's sometimes I have to make signs and things that look like they've been printed, not painted and with someone's hand. Kind of like our posters back here. We're going to maybe take StageONE's logo, which is like a printed straight letters on a straight line, and I'm going to show you how I would do that with paint, or we're going to use markers today so that we don't make a mess. But yeah, two different kinds of lettering here. It's going to be fun. I'll bring you in a little bit closer so you can see the way my hand's writing and learn some tricks of the trade for hand lettering. All right, so we're going to start with our hand lettering, the bouncy calligraphy here that I've kind of done an example for with our Art is for Everyone, because it is. So one of the first tricks, when I was first kind of learning to do this for like people's gifts and stuff, and they wanted a certain handwriting, a certain kind of font, I would go online and I would print out these pages like this. They can be free. You just Google hand lettering practice sheets, and they give you any kind is on there. I've got two different kinds here. They're kind of the same. It's more cursive, that bouncy style, but basically it's showing you kind of how you start. So like I already did the A here. We'll go to, let's see, the D is easy. So it's showing you right here, there's a little arrow, it's kind of hard to see, but it's showing you that you would start here, you would go down, bounce up, loop around, and swoop. So that's just showing you that. Like it's showing you the way you go, or the suggestion of the way you go. We'll get into this later, but I don't think you have to do a specific font like this. You can use your own handwriting and make it look good. Kind of with my StageONE here. Any kind of way. If maybe you're too young and you haven't learned cursive yet, you can use any handwriting. We'll get into that and I'll show you how to make it look good with any kind of font that you want to use. But yeah, so back to our sheet here. These are just really nice. If you remember when you were little, you had these sheets just to learn how to write your alphabet in general. And the whole point is that it's a muscle memory. So at this point, my hand knows exactly how to move to make a letter. I printed out just an A to show just a bunch of different kinds of A's here. So you can pick whichever one you want of that, and you can print out a sheet like this for every letter, and you just practice. Practice, practice, practice. So I'm going to go back to my A here. Bounce, bounce, bounce. And it's okay if it's not completely perfect onto that, because I've done this for a while. My hand kind of does its own thing. But yeah, go down to this one. It's a little bit different. Let's see which one else is fun. This one's kind of crazy, curly Q. That one I had to go a little slower on because my hand wasn't used to this curly Q. So yeah, something like that. Now the next trick, so you'll notice that my A's that I did here before this look a little different. That's because the trick with this is that what is called the downstroke, and that's what I showed you with the arrow here. Wherever it shows that you're going, like when you just make an A normally, you're going to start here, you go down, up, down. So as you get better, you're going to remember what your downstroke is on every letter that you write. And when you know where your downstroke is, you go back and you make your downstroke thicker. That is the trick. So you're going to do that every time. Like I said, you'll remember, you'll get used to it once you've done it for a while. Once your muscle memory in your hand knows the shape of the letters. So yeah, just gonna make all of those. We'll go down to our curly Q one, but every time you know that you went down with your pencil or your pen. By the way, I'm using just a regular Sharpie. I like these thin ones because you can do the thin lines and then make it thicker. But I can show you, you can do it with a pencil. We'll go to this one. It's harder to see, but definitely probably when you get started, start with a pencil, because then you could just erase on this sheet, save some paper, help some trees, and just kind of, erase it and do it again. So yeah, that is the first trick, is take a while, pause this video, go get a snack, take a break, and just practice some letters. Even if you don't have a printer, if your mom and dad says, no, you cannot print a bunch of these pages, I get that. Again, we want to help some trees. I'll go to my plain sheet of paper here, and you can see I've already been playing around. And I'll show you, so if I just wrote my name, normal, no cursive, just normal letters, you can go back, do the exact same thing. So on my C, I went down there, thicken that in. I went down on that part of the O. I went down on that R, down on the I, and down on the E. Woo. You can get fancy, and let's see, I'm just gonna write my name again real quick. You can put dots on the end of your letters. That's fun. Go back and do some of that darkening. I like dots, they're cute. So that's fun. What I did up here was I did my name, and I did my downstroke, but I didn't fill it in. So it gives it this kind of like cartoony, I don't know. Well, that one didn't work very well, darn it. But you see what I mean. I did that up here. Sometimes you can mix like your non-cursive with your cursive and just get real fun. Sometimes I do little zigzags. That's one of my little signature Corie art things. You can do anything you want, any kind of way. If I did a big C, a little O up here, a big R, an I, an E, with a curly Q. And then I added my downstrokes. That one's kind of a downstroke. We'll put a dot on our I. That's like abstract Picasso Corie. So yeah, that is hand lettering. Without any kind of stencil, without any kind of rulers or anything like that. You can make it your own. You can use any color. I brought a marker, just a regular Crayola marker, so that I can show you that you can use any tool. You don't have to have a fancy pen. Those are expensive. Let's see, what do I want to write? Hello. And then darken with our downstrokes. Yeah. You know, just play around with it. Let's see, I'll do a pencil. We'll do another, we'll do hello again. So yeah, if you're writing a letter to someone, I like to write a letter, put it in the envelope, and then I actually make my own envelopes. That's super fun. And then I do their name on the front in this crazy kind of style, and it's always really fun because they'll get the letter and be like, what? This is an artist that sends me this letter. Some people pay a bunch of money to have these done for their wedding invitations. Maybe you can talk someone into letting you do their wedding invitations all fancy. Or you can use paint, of course. I didn't want to get paint on my non-paint clothes today, so I didn't use paint, but you can use paint. It's a little trickier because paint drags differently. It's a little more complicated, so I'd suggest getting really used to doing with pens and markers and stuff like that, and then try some paint on a board, an old cool board or something. You can put your name on it. Yeah, there's just so many options, and it's lots of fun. Once your hand gets used to what it's doing, it's lots of fun. We'll do another cool thing on here. Let's see. The bigger is lots of fun. My hand likes to do big art. That's why I'm a scenic artist, because everything that goes on stage is so big and so much fun to paint. Oh, there we go. Kind of an exclamation point. So yeah, now I'll show you how to do something like this. That's a little more rigid, and this needs to go on a straight line and look like a sign that someone bought at a store instead of painted or did with a marker. So let me get into showing you how to do that. Move all this stuff here. What we'll need for this, we'll use a black Sharpie. Need a pencil, a marker, or whatever you want to use to fill in your letters. We'll start with, I used a C because of Corie. And what I have is, this is called carbon paper, tracing paper, whatever, something. I think in the stores it's carbon paper. What it is this side is smooth, nothing, well, that's a bad example. It's dusty. But this side, oh, that's because I was doing the wrong side. This is the side that's got like this silvery stuff on it. This side does not. It's dirty, you get the point. So this side, you can see kind of, I've done Stage One's logo on this before actually. I've done some other letters up here. Basically, it helps you transfer something that you trace onto something else. That makes sense. I will show you. So that will make more sense when I show you. And then I'm going to show you how you can make your own of this, because this is expensive and you don't need it if you don't have to buy it. So what we're going to do, this is my clean sheet of paper. This is my carbon paper. This is the right side, Corie. So I'm going to put it right over that. Usually I would tape this down. So imagine this is a big sign. If you saw, let me think, if you saw Ghost this year, Stage One did Ghost earlier, or I guess last season, there was a sign for a Chinese restaurant. This is what I did for that. It was huge. It was like 10 feet. It was like 8 feet wide, I think. So I had to print it out really, really big and use my carbon paper and move things around. Let's see, there was the sports store sign for that one too. Just anything that needed to look like a printed, professionally made sign. So I would take my pretend this is a board that I'm putting this on. This is the big circle that I'm making the sign on, but it's a piece of paper. Then I would take my carbon paper. I would take whatever I was going to trace and put it on top of my carbon paper. And like I said, I would tape this down so nothing moved and it was in the right spot on my board. And then I take my pencil, hopefully it's good and sharp, it is, and I would trace those letters. Lost it there a little bit. Ooh, losing it. That's okay. We can clean it up later. As you see, I printed 2 different kinds of C's here. This is called serif. Means these has these little feetsies on it, all these little curlies at the bottom. This is sans serif. Means it's just straight. No little cute little things at the end. I'm gonna try a little harder on this. See? Not get flustered. Pretend you're making a real sign. No one's watching. All right, let's see if my carbon paper works. Look at that. That C got weird. But you'll see there. So yeah, this guy, he's special, but that's fine. I'm going to, so this traced onto that. You can see then, maybe, yeah, look, there's my C. I don't know if you could pick that up in the camera. It comes in different colors too, like this one's red. If I was doing something on, I brought this blackboard. If I wanted to put my C on this blackboard, it's cool that I can get different colors. We'll do this straight guy down here. A little less finesse. Tape is helpful because this wants to move when you push. You do need to push down kind of hard. A lot of times I'll use a pen so that I know that I'm really digging in there. Let's see if it works. Ta-da! So look, I can, if I'm trying to paint red letters on a black sign, this makes it so I can still see where I'm going. I know these don't look perfect, but when you go back with your brush or your pen, it really cleans it up. This just gives you a guideline for spacing. A lot of times I will, I didn't, but a lot of times I'll have to space out what I'm gonna paint. Let's pretend this is a ruler because I don't have one on me. And I would start by doing a line. I would measure out from the sides to make sure that something is centered. That's not quite, but again, I don't have my ruler. And then I would go in and put this on this line. I might cut out my letters so that I can see exactly where the line is. Ooh, this is gonna be something. And then do my lines. If anyone remembers the show Stage One did called House at Pooh Corner, it was about Winnie the Pooh and all of his friends. It was my very first show for Stage One, coming in and painting, and my favorite. If you remember, that whole set was book pages. Well, that didn't work, because I had it on the wrong side. Anyway, that show was my favorite, but the whole set was to look like book pages. And it was so cool, but also very intricate, because we basically had to do what I just showed you when it worked, with pages of books, like entire pages of letters. And then when we would go back and paint them, it was crazy, but it was really cool and it looked awesome. If you can go back and look at pictures, do it, because it was great. So let's see, I'm gonna do Stage One for now, and then I'm gonna show you how I fill it in. We're gonna use red, just for fun, and I'm gonna do it the right way this time. Right, let's see if I did it right this time. Ta-da! That is awesome. Cool, so we've got Stage One's logo there. And as I said, it's a little wobbly, and that's fine, because usually with paint, because it's like chalky, you can go back and I would take like a wet rag and just wipe it down, whatever I couldn't get off with that. An eraser gets off, so it goes away. And then go in with my fresh Sharpie, and I always do, and you know what, usually I have a ruler for this too. I would go through and do the straight lines first. That's straight, beautifully. We'll we'll just do stage since it's taking a little bit of time, and you get the idea. Or maybe we'll just do stuff. S's are always hard, so I do try to do those nice and slow. S's are hard no matter what. There's so many curly cues with an S. Let me fill this in and I will show you. If you don't want to go buy carbon paper, you don't have to. I'll show you how, and you may have already known this. Sometimes people do what's called an etching with a pencil on like leaves and stuff like that. It could be something you've already done in school. So you get the point. I would fill that all the way in, and then I would be very careful and precise about the words down here. Make sure they're nice and straight. So yeah, you get the point. I wish I could finish it. Oh, that one got a little long, but again, this is a quick one. Maybe this is a mix of our bouncy hand lettering with our carbon paper version. All right, so I'm going to show you real quick what you can do if you don't have this fancy carbon paper, and that's cool because this is what I did before I knew that I could buy this. I'm going to use my StageONE. So basically, you can do this with whatever. So like, I know that I wanted to do this StageONE logo. Then I will use, this is a scrap piece of paper where I already played with this. But basically, so I have charcoal and I have a pencil. Either one, you can use colorful chalk, like for our red. If you had red chalk or pink chalk or something like that, if you wanted to do something on a black piece, then that's what you would do. I brought black charcoal with me. Basically, you're gonna do like I did here. This is just a scrap piece of paper, like I said. So you would color in an area, however big the letter is that you're wanting to trace. You also don't have to trace. You can just do your own handwriting again, but then that way you have like a pencil outline of what you want to do, even if it's just done by hand. And you can put it on the board or whatever that you were trying to paint on or draw on. So I've got two areas just so I can show you that both of it works. So this is my charcoal, this is my pencil. I'm gonna turn it over. This is a little confusing, but you can see kind of right there the outline of my charcoal area. And I'm just gonna say, hi, with a little sun. Look at that, right there. And then it's traced on there. Again, that's pencil, or no, that's charcoal, but still it will erase right off whenever you're done. So then I would go back and be like, look, I have this that I can trace. Woohoo. Or if you wanted to do your hand lettering, did I do any of that on that? No, of course. But either way, say I wanted to just make sure you line it up. If I wanted to do this sharp looking E, let's hope that worked. Look at that, it's a little lighter, the pencil's a little lighter, but maybe that's good. Maybe then you don't have as much to erase later because it's so light, which is great. So yeah, that's kind of how I do it, again, this is nice and quick. When it's a giant 6x6 circle that I have to write very particular letters, usually a designer will give me what he wants the sign to look like, and I have to make it look exactly like that. So that's what I would do. I would print it out on our big printer, and I would trace it like this and fill it in with paint. It's very calming. I like to just put on some nice piano music and do my strokes. So you just really get into the groove of it. Very nice. So yeah, that's about it. All right, so that was a very quick tutorial on some ideas for hand lettering. Just remember, I've been doing this for a while, and this is really quick, but I've been doing this for many years. I've been making gifts and stuff and working on my style and stuff like that. So don't get frustrated. If you start with your printouts and that seems hard, just keep practicing. Like when you first learned to write, you were frustrated too. So know that it takes a lot of practice. Like I said, it's a muscle memory. Your hand has muscles in it that once you've done it, an H is an H. Like my hand knows exactly what to do. It makes it a lot smoother. You might start off a little choppy just because you're unsure. That's okay. Make it a whole style. If you write a letter to someone, do that envelope thing I talked about, just lean into it. Whatever it looks like at the end, it's gonna be great. And it's really cool. People are gonna appreciate that it's something that you're trying to do. Hand touches are key for gifts. People love it. So like I said, just practice. Remember some of the key things. You got your markers, you got your pencil, you got papers to just try. The keys basically are those downstrokes, thickening those, and then adding little fun touches. I like to just kind of play with stuff a couple times before I put it on the final product of whatever I'm making. Just some layouts. That's true with scenic artists and set designers. I can't tell you how many different sketches I kind of play with before I end up with the one that I want to be put on stage. So it's totally fine. Just play around with it, no pressure at all, and see what you come up with. I'd love to see pictures in the comments of what people are doing. Father's Day is coming up, so maybe make a fun sign or card for dad, or whoever, anyone important in your life. People love it. So yeah, that's about it. That's it for today on Channel StageONE. Tune in next time, 10 a.m. for more videos. We're bringing you fun, fresh content each week, so if you like what you see, please support StageONE by donating in the link in the post. Remember, theater is for everyone.